Hey everyone, it's Amrit again. I'm back with a second video on the best elemental builds for TU4. Let's call this part 2. Again, like and subscribe and all that, only if you really want, because believe me, I haven't unsubscribed yet, despite some of the claims that you can unsubscribe later. Anyway, I'm here to show you the best element builds for dragon conversion. Now I know that most builds in TU4 you've seen or heard actually use dragon conversion together with elemental resistances to boost the elemental attack. But I'm here to introduce a skill that I've seen most builds take for granted regarding dragon conversion. And that is... Tan-tan-tan-tan. Yeah, I should maybe use special effects for that one, right? Anyway, the Furious skill. As you can see, at level 3, the Furious skill gives 20 elemental resistances across the board, so that's 100 resistance converted to elemental damage right off the bat. And if you can also try to squeeze in what we mentioned before about the resistances and the defense boost 4 or 6, because that also gives you elemental resistances. Another skill that pairs really good with dragon conversion is of course Strife, but yeah, most builds already use this, so you just need to combine everything. So for maximum element damage, try to put together a build that has all the mentioned skills. And that is Dragon Conversion 3, Furious 3, Strife 3, Dereliction 1. This is so that you can activate the Strife effect, and it also gives additional element. And all the elemental resistance skill you can fit in it. Just cram it all in there and consequences be damned. Sorry, I got a little bit excited there. Where were we? Oh yeah, this build actually shines the brightest with the Charge Blade, more specifically Super Amp Element Discharge Blade. For this video, I'll be showcasing two weapons. One of which is of course the Charge Blade, the Saed Charge Blade, and the other one is the Switch Axe. From the previous video, I've mentioned that I'll be doing some testing with the Mail of Hellfire, Strife, and Berserk build. For a more detailed description of this build, please check out the previous video in this series. I'll call that part 1, I guess. I'll be comparing both this current Dragon Conversion build with that build on Saed Charge Blade and Switch Axe. First off, this is the Dragon Conversion Furious Element Resistance build for the Switch Axe. Now for the Mail of Hellfire Strife Berserk build on Switch Axe. All things considered, you can see that the builds are fairly comparable, with the Hellfire Strife one coming out on top by a bit. Maybe even comparable if I actually utilized the full elemental damage from the Dragon Conversion Strife Dereliction build. The only problem is, Berserk is not a good fit for Switch Axe in my opinion, because if you plan on riding a monster with the elemental discharge, you're going to probably die. So I'm actually leaning towards the Dragon Conversion build for this one, because it's actually fun to use the ride the monster, do an elemental discharge, which in Berserk you really can't do. And now the Mail of Hellfire Strife Berserk build for Charge Blade. Again, this is the Dragon Conversion Furious Element Resistance build for Charge Blade. As you can see, the Dragon Conversion build wins out in the end for Charge Blade, because of the simple fact that I was able to cram in as much elemental resistances to maximize the dragon conversion skill and therefore maximize the element for the charge blade. So this answers my question in the previous video, and that answer is no. Sadly, the Mail of Hellfire Strife Berserk build did not win out for the charge blade, which is really sad because I was actually rooting for the Mail of Hellfire. So in summary, at least for the Switch Axe and Charge Blade, I believe it's more useful to build around Dragon Conversion. I of course will still be continuing my testing, and hopefully I'll come up with a recommendation for all the weapons. But I don't think our build is the most optimized because I like to have a bit of comfort on top of the damage since we're not really speedrunners, though we'd like to finish our farming hunts as fast as possible without risking too much cards. Therefore, we'd like to have a balance between survivability and damage. So there you have it. Hopefully you'd consider this build or build upon this build. Try to play around with the skills to get that balance of survivability and damage that you're comfortable with. Once again, thanks for watching. See you out there and happy hunting!